DBU, that's a debate for another day. But we know that the legacy at Florida State is among the best in the country in the secondary, and the 2023 edition lived up to the past because they brought it. Got Logan Robinson here, Noel Game Day, breaking down the Florida State roster. We're in the middle of spring practice, so we do this each spring with Logan. Then we turn around and get it together sometime in August to get you set for the season as well. Earl Little comes in from Alabama to play some corner. I see another transfer coming in from Miami in Devontae Brown. It most likely going to be a safety. So take us through the secondary and what you see there.
Probably start in this cornerback room and, try to figure out outside of what is expected. So expecting Azare Thomas to take that next stride, that next step to be your CB2, where Fentrell Cypress is going to come back and take his spot in the slot there. You bring back Greedy Vance. If you think about it, 2 years ago, he led FSU in interceptions there. Really smart player, understands where he needs to be on the field. So Azare Thomas, I think just seeing him take another step forward in what the staff believes he will. Just a really good sized corner. If you think of, I go back to, relating him physical build wise to Jalen Ramsey. This team also too, going back last year, Azare was making some plays too whenever he got in and got put into the game. He's just natural ability type of player. So those are the three, also with Tua, Kevin Knowles, a veteran guy. But, I think of Vance, I think of Cypress, I think of Thomas, your three solidified cornerbacks that are out there on the field. And then you've got some youngsters that are super, 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 exciting to think about and also look forward to, which we'll see some rotation in this upcoming season. Yes, you've got Earl Little Jr. coming over here from Alabama, who's going to see playing time in 2024. But when you talk about Quindarius Jones, Edwin Joseph, even Jabril Rawls, Charles Lester being a former 5-star as well. And like you're saying, Jamari Howard coming over, but specifically what you're able to do in-house recruiting wise with some of these guys like Quindarius Jones, who I'm super, super high on. I don't know how much playing time he will see, but for spring for some of these youngsters, it's kind of where Azare Thomas was in his second year at FSU. You want to see him earn more playing time. And from what I've heard, Quindarius Jones he's been super, super impressive, along with Edwin Joseph, Jabril Rawls. That's something really exciting to hear about, at least for your cornerback position. And then Florida State, Coach Surtain continues to kill it in that cornerback room. But if you're thinking about a room on the team as a whole, offensively, defensively, it's the whole entire secondary, as we talk about the safeties here in a second. But there's tons to like in the cornerback room. You feel nice and secured a lot going into the rest of this spring camp and going into fall.
So Logan, let's check out the safeties. Akeem Dent, is he back?
Akeem Dent is gone. He didn't get invited to the combine, which was crazy, absolutely nuts. He should have been a 13th player invited, but Akeem Dent gone, former 5-star, actually was fully, healthy for the most part this last season, and it showed. It really did show, and I think he's going to be someone that actually ends up getting drafted. But yeah, they lose Akeem Dent, which is a tough loss for FSU in that safety room.
So what does the safety room look like? I mentioned Brown coming in from Miami. He was a decent player. He got a lot of snaps for them.
Yep. So for here, it's one player that I've been high on for a while now, really high on, is Shyheim Brown. He's a guy that matched over there with Akeem Dent last year, but he can go east to west, more of a bigger size, lengthier size than Akeem Dent. But Florida State's looking at him not only as a pivotal factor on the field, but as a leader. Talking about Mike Norvell, he's someone that he pinpointed as being someone that's vocal. We hear about it at practice as well. He's making sure guys are in the right spot, also being vocal, making sure we're staying on pace at practice. Shyheim Brown's going to take a big step and helping build this defense. When I'm looking at guys like Joshua Farmel, Darrell Jackson, DJ Lundy, I think of, and Patrick Payton, I'm looking at Shyheim Brown as being one of those players. He's going to be someone that leads that entire secondary, and I'm really excited for him going into his season this next year. And then you got a youngster with Conrad Hussey, who had a lot of flashes this last season. Once he gets down a little bit more of the scheme, I mean, you just naturally really love that he was able to get a lot of playing time as a true freshman last year and made some plays. Yeah, had some times ups and downs, but that's a true freshman. I would way rather see that. Florida State still went 13-0, and he still had, the ups and downs. That's, you want to have all these experiences, get them in that way. In year two, a lot of those things are cleaned up, and you've got a well-polished player, and that's what Florida State and Coach Surtain prepped Conrad Hussey for. Super excited for Hussey and what we see in him in year two. Ashland Barker, we saw some good signs from him. Wasn't expecting a whole ton this last season, but the staff really felt like he was reliable in the film room and also understanding the scheme early on, and that's why we saw a lot of Ashland Barker out there. KJ Kirkland, another youngster going into his year two, physical build-wise, really impressive, natural ability. And, we'll see how much playing time he gets in 2024, but this is another big spring camp for him to make some strides so he can be someone that's in that rotational room in case, we have some things going on with Hussey or Barker or Brown. Like you said, Devontae Brown, we'll see what ends up going on there, former Miami transfer. But the staff sees something, and it feels like it could be a good, decent depth piece, I think, for the most part. But I'll be honest with you, the secondary room under Coach Surtain, we named off some names last year that we expected to get a lot of playing time. And there were some that we did, we counted off that actually got more playing time, like a guy with Ashland Barker. Didn't think too much of what we would see from Conrad Hussey either, but these guys jumped in and got a lot more earlier playing time than maybe we had expected. So that's why I don't really want to count out a whole ton of these guys. Coach Surtain, he knows what he's doing. He envisions the talent really well and what he wants to bring into his scheme. And this room as a secondary, Florida State, the whole DBU talk, Mark, you and I have had a nice chat about it back in the day with Jason as well, because we were talking Ohio State and everything. But I don't know if there's Azare Thomas, I think, is in that realm, but Shaheem Brown, Florida State's trying to bring back that DBU to themselves. And, they lost Jarian Jones, lost Renardo Green. These are pivotal losses, along with Akeem Dent in that secondary. Those are some, it's crazy. Those are some really significant pieces for FSU. And the fact that I'm not in complete, like, oh my gosh, what does FSU do? What do they do now? It just goes to show you how well Coach Surtain, Adam Fuller, and Mike Norvell have done a good job of reloading that secondary.
One of the most fun things for me to watch in football is a defensive back, and it's usually a safety, but that can run from about 20 yards away and just lower the boom on somebody. So as soon as you mentioned Renardo Green, that's what I thought of.
Yep.
Who's going to bring the physical mentality in this secondary?
Physical, my initial reaction, I was saying, I think Shaheem Brown is one of those, even though he started last season. Shaheem Brown is one of those guys. Conrad Hussey came down and dropped the hammer a little bit last season as well. If I'm going cornerback, though, and I had to pick in one of these, I'm honestly going to go. I'm going to go a little Earl Little Jr. We're going to see some Earl Little Jr. in 2024. It's going to be hard to kind of jump in and take some spots from Thomas, Cypress, and Vance. But I'd like to go Earl Little Jr. Bring that Alabama boom a little bit. Yeah, but Renardo Green, that kid loved to hit any smaller guy too. But number 8, when you wear the number 8, which now Azare Thomas is going to be wearing, you got to come down Loco Ocho style and lay him. I'm not going to say it, but lay someone out. Just a nice PG version, but lay someone out. Jalen Ramsey style, Derwin James style. That's what you think of, when you think of a little bit of DBU at FSU. Physical ass coming to lay your head, pop your head off, and someone needs to come down and do that. So we'll see who wants to take the bait on doing it.
Logan, it's a family show, but you're allowed to cut loose once in a while. So don't be afraid. Don't back off. You're good.
I appreciate you're gonna have to use a lot of sensors. I know James Coleman though. I know it's hard to. You got to have a whole set of sensors for him. But I'm trying to keep it. Got to keep the ad rates up, baby. Got to keep the CPMs high.
That's it.